Now that we've taken a look at the structure of the executive branch in Article 2, it's time to take a look at the qualifications for the office of president, the office that really runs the entire executive branch. Let's take a look at the requirements to become president. There are 3 formal requirements that must be met for someone to be president. The first one is that you have to be at least 35 years old. It's sort of interesting to think back to what we learned in Article 1, that to be in the House of Representatives you have to be at least 25, to be a senator you have to be at least 30, and now for president you have to be at least 35 years old. And the increasing age shows you what the framers thought about the increasing amounts of responsibility for each of those offices. The second requirement is that you must be a natural-born citizen. You have to be born here in the United States in order to be president. A few years back, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the action actor from the 80s, you might have seen him in the Terminator movies, he ran for governor of California and was elected and was popular as a governor of California. And people were hoping that he would run for president, but he couldn't because he was born in Austria. He wasn't born here in the United States. So you have to be born here in the country in order to be president. And the last requirement is that you have to have been a resident of the United States for at least 14 years. You don't have to be here 14 years in a row. You don't have to be here 14 years before you run for president. Your just time of living in the United States has to be a total of 14 years. So those are the formal requirements. Now there are some informal requirements or some informal expectations that people tend to have for their president. One is that they've had some prior experience in government, so they know how things work. Another informal requirement is that a candidate for president has to be able to raise money. It's a very expensive proposition to run for president, so you have to have the organizational skills and the know-how to get that money for your campaign. Another expectation that many voters have of their president is they be intelligent and have some education. Some voters really like a president who has prior experience in the military. They feel that's a very important qualification. Some voters like a family values kind of person who they believe is a person of high moral fiber and quality, who is just a decent, good person who will make good decisions. So those are some examples of some informal expectations and requirements of people who are running for president. Now that we've looked at the qualifications for the office, let's look at how people get elected to the office of president.